Hailed from Sunam, Sangru district of Punjab, Sardar Udham Singh was born on 26 December 1899 in a Kamboj Sikh family as Sher Singh. He lost his parents at an early age. He, along with his elder brother Mukta Singh, lived in Central Khalsa Orphanage, Putlighar in Amritsar. During his stay, he received the name of Udham Singh. After passing his matriculation in 1918, he left the orphanage in 1919. We all know the infamous year of 1919 that met with unfortunate incidents. Now let us see the causes of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. It was a year of World War during which there was ruthless recruitment of Indians into the army. It was also the year when the Rowlatt Act was passed that legalized arrest on the basis of suspicion. This act met with tremendous protest. The British administration in Amritsar, headed by Lieutenant Governor Michael O'Dwyer, panicked. On 10th April, it arrested a number of leaders like Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichlu under this act. These arrests were made and met with widespread anger and discontent. To restore order, Michael O'Dwyer handed the command of several dozen troops to Brigadier General Reginald Edward Harry Dyer. Dyer's first steps were indiscriminately arresting people and banning gatherings. On 13th April 1919, that is the day of Baisakhi festival, many of thousands of people gathered at the ground of Jallianwala Bagh. They had come from far off villages to attend fairs in Amritsar and were unaware of Dyer's ban order. Singh and his friends from the orphanage were at Jallianwala Bagh on the fateful day and were given the responsibility of serving water to the thirsty crowd. Dyer arrived with his troops, sealed off the only exit, and opened fire on the crowd without any warning. The unarmed people tried to escape by climbing the walls or jumping into a well. But those heartless soldiers kept firing till they ran out of ammunition. It is not certain how many people died in this horrific bloodbath, but according to official estimates, around 400 people were killed and another 1200 wounded. Singh, 20 years old at that time, was deeply scarred by the event and soon got involved in the armed resistance. In the early 1920s, he traveled to East Africa, where he worked as a laborer for a while before making his way into the USA. It was here in San Francisco that he first came in contact with the members of the Ghadar Party, that was a revolutionary movement organized by immigrant Punjabi Sikhs to secure India's independence from British rule. For the next few years, he traveled across America to secure support for the movement using several aliases, such as Uday Singh, Sher Singh, and even Frank Brazil. In 1927, he made his way back to Punjab on the orders of Bhagat Singh by working as a carpenter on a ship traveling to India. The same year, he was arrested for the possession of illegal arms and for running the Ghadar Party's radical publication, Ghadar Di Gunj. He was jailed for 4 years till 1931. When he was released in 1931, he remained under constant surveillance of the British police due to his close links with Bhagat Singh's Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. He made his way to Kashmir somehow. He evaded the police and then escaped to Germany. Singh finally reached England in 1933 with the aim of assassinating Michael O'Dwyer, the Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, who he held responsible for the brutal massacre. In London, he fell in with socialist groups while working as a carpenter, motor mechanic, and signboard painter. Interestingly, He also worked as an extra in two movies, Elephant Boy and The Four Feathers. In this image, you can see Sardar Udham Singh in the middle. He knew the time had come to achieve his goal when he learned that Michael O'Dwyer was scheduled to speak at a meeting in London's Caxton Hall on 13th March 1940. On the day of the conference, Singh hid a revolver in his overcoat, in a book, sneaked into Caxton Hall, and shot O'Dwyer twice as he moved from the platform. He did not try to flee or resist arrest and was immediately taken into custody. In this image, you can see him smiling, giving him a sense of satisfaction after assassinating Michael O'Dwyer. During his trial, Udham Singh gave his name as Muhammad Singh Azad, as a symbol that all religions in India were united in their opposition against British rule. Convicted and sentenced to death, Singh was hanged on 31st July 1940 at London's Pentonville prison and buried with the prison grounds. A brave heart who sacrificed his life to avenge his motherland. Udham Singh legend has grown with time. In 1974, Singh's remains were repatriated to India before being cremated at his birthplace. Some of his ashes were scattered in the Satluj River, while some of the ashes are in the museum. Moreover, one district of Uttarakhand has been named after him, Udham Singh Nagar. His ancestral house has been converted into a museum, and also several movies are made on him. The latest being Sardar Udham starring Vicky Kaushal. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, share and subscribe to Think Curious. Thank you so much.